Good morning and welcome to our Sunday morning service. Whether you are joining us in person or online, we're excited you're here and we hope you'll come again. Today, after service, we invite you to attend our annual Fall Engagement Fair. Volunteers have been working hard to create a festive and fun event that will help you find new ways to get involved in our vibrant congregation. If you're joining us from home, engagement and volunteer forms are available on our website at www.unitytemple.org under the Connections heading. Don't forget to mark your calendar for our monthly meet and greet on Sunday, October 2nd from 1 to 2. As always, members of the engagement and membership committees and I are here to help you connect with our congregation in meaningful and fun ways, whether you're newly attending or have been participating in the congregation for some time. We look forward to hearing from you, and we hope you enjoy the service.
Good morning. My name is Matthew Bruce. My pronouns are he, him, and I serve on your board of trustees. It's my pleasure to welcome you here this morning. If you are here for the first time, thank you for joining us. We look forward to getting to know you. We invite everyone present in the sanctuary today to join the time immediately following the service. And as Tina was just saying, it's a very special time today with the engagement fair. We appreciate everyone wearing a mask over your mouth and nose during the service as a way to protect each other. If you find yourself needing a break from wearing your mask, we invite you to go out on the patio and come back when you are ready. We are actively reviewing the masking policy and hope to have an announcement soon. On behalf of the board, I want to also give some thank yous this morning. Thank you, of course, to the engagement committee who put together the wonderful fair, and hopefully everyone got the blue flyer and will join in it. Thank you as well to everyone who joined us last week for the board sponsor-hosted sessions. If you missed them, there will be another Reflecting with the Board tomorrow evening at 7. The board greatly appreciates all the input and feedback and questions we get at these sessions. They are invaluable. I also want to thank the Finance Committee, but I know the Finance Committee would actually like me to plug the annual fund drive and thank the annual fund drive committee who's been working on that very hard, part of our stewardship committee. Please look for those materials soon. Finally, a plug for next week and a big thank you to the transitions team. There will be a Relational Covenant World Cafe next week following the service. All of this information and more, there'll be more things I could say, are in the e-beacon. So if you are looking for the links or the information, please look out for that. But finally today, it's this very special Sunday for us. On behalf of the board, I want to extend our gratitude and love and thank you to Reverend Emily. This is her last Sunday for a while. She is going on sabbaticals. You'll be hearing from her today. You may not know that the executive team of our staff, which includes our ministers, are all ex officio members of the board, which means they all are part of our board meetings, and it means that as congregational members of the board come and go, they stay, and so they're always part of the board. We value their institutional memory, of course, but I think both the current board and past board members would join me that Reverend Emily in particular, we appreciate her calming presence, her wisdom, and the love and compassion she brings to being on the board, and how she embodies our values in leadership of the congregation. So a big thank you to Reverend Emily. Each week we remind ourselves of our congregation's core values: connection, transformation, justice, and acceptance. Our mission is to embody these core values in our daily lives by welcoming all, inspiring compassion, nurturing wonder, and serving community. We are so glad that you are with us here today. We hope you find the service inspiring and meaningful. And I invite you now to take a moment to greet one another here in the sanctuary and online.
Oh, of course not. Our chalice lighter today is Simon Baker. Simon loves gymnastics. Please join with me in the words of our chalice lighting. We are Unitarian Universalists. This is the church of the open mind, the loving hearts, and the helping hands. We take care of the planet Earth and each other. Our opening words are in part from the Reverend Elizabeth Tarbox. And I'm going to share them with you after the music. And so I say ours is a story of faith and hope and love. I say it is our need for one another that binds us together, that brings us laughing and limping into relationships and keeps us at it when we otherwise might despair at the fix we are in. I say it is the holy we need, the eternal beyond our comprehension, and one place we can find it is here, working and worshiping together. And I say there is a transcendent value worthy of our loyalty upon which we may set our hearts, and its divine manifestation is love. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your life journey, wherever you are in the world, you are welcome here. Come, let us worship together. I invite you to rise in body and spirit. We're going to sing 118, This Little Light of Mine. It's in the gray hymn book.
So could spread out just a little. All right, here we go. Come on, everybody, stand. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Building up a world, building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it
Please join me in the words of our covenant. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God.
Holding each other is the time in our service where we pause to share and reflect on the moments of our lives that have moved our spirits in the past week. As a community whose mission commits us to inspiring compassion, sharing the joys and sorrows of our lives with one another is a way to build our relational connections between each other and to live our mission here at Unity Temple Unitarian Universalist Congregation. We invite you to share your joys and sorrows with us. To do so, please email pastoralassociates@unitytemple.org by Friday evening. If you are with us in person, you are also invited to light a candle on the table, on the chalice table, as a symbol of your joy or sorrow. And if you are online, we invite you to share your joy or sorrow in the chat box. These are the joys and sorrows that were shared with us this week. Carrie Vitale shares that her sister Sue Michael of Twinning, Michigan, has entered into hospice. On a recent visit, Sue was watching the birds and other wildlife out her living room window, still full of sass and wry observations. Many people from the Women's Connection are familiar with her from letters for Sue read at the women's retreats for many years. Carrie asks that you keep Sue and her devoted husband, Bob, in your thoughts at this time. Marty Swisher and family celebrate the 3rd birthday of her granddaughter, Jordan Lee Swisher, who continues to be the light of Marty's life. And finally, let us all join in celebrating Reverend Emily's imminent sabbatical, a time to listen to that still small voice and let it inform the next stage of her ministry. Let us send her off with joy and hope in our hearts for this time of rest and reflection and rejuvenation in her ministry. Let us hold in our hearts all these spoken and the unspoken joys and sorrows that are in our congregation, in our community, and in our world, as we enter together into a moment of prayer and meditation with these words from Kenneth P. Langer. Spirit of life and love, let us find peace within so that we may be calm throughout. Let us find silence within so that we may find compassion throughout. Let us be reminded that some things are worth waiting for. Let us be reminded that the journey is more important than reaching the destination. Let us see that the non-doing is as much a part of life as the doing. Let us be reminded that it is in these moments of holding on that we can find quietude and renewal. It is within these times of inaction that we can find rest. It is within these times of emptiness that we can become full. May we hold on to each other and find the compassion that we seek as we enter together into the silence.
If you are someone who likes to come close when you're listening to a story, I invite you to come and sit down on the floor near me. Good job, Simon. Thank you. I have a story today, but first I wanted to talk to you a little bit about a sabbatical. I'm going to start a sabbatical on Saturday, October 1st. Does anybody here know what a sabbatical is? All right. So I'm glad I asked. So really, A sabbatical is kind of part of a minister's job, and it's a time to rest from all the things that we do all the time and do some thinking and some big picture thinking and resting, and a time to get new ideas. Do any of you have any recommendations for what I might do on my sabbatical? Sleep. Okay, all right, good. I'll definitely put that on my list. Anything else? Yeah, Michael. Work? Mostly I'm not going to work. Yes. Travel. Ooh, okay, that's a good one. Wondering? Ooh, yes, I'm going to do a lot of wondering. I like that.
Play with dinosaurs.
What?
Play with dinosaurs.
Play with dinosaurs? Excellent. I didn't think of that. That's a good one. Yep. Have fun. All right.
Discover new planets.
Discover new planets. Okay. This is awesome. These are things I haven't thought of. Yes.
Finish the interrupted tale.
Finish interrupted tale. I didn't even start it yet, so I'm going to, yes, okay. Isla, go ahead. Sink in. Thinking. Yes, I'm going to do some thinking. Okay. Go ahead. Yes. Whatever I want to do. All right. All right. Okay. Also ice cream. Eating ice cream. You guys, this is awesome. Okay. So I see there's lots more ideas, and we're gonna have to talk about them after the service. And I want you to know that there's going to be other people doing some of the things that I do on Sunday mornings while I'm gone. Miss Val is here, and Miss Val is the person that you want to talk to if you want to light the chalice at the beginning of the service, like Simon did this morning. You can tell Miss Val that you want to do that. She'll probably be here reading some of the stories too. So the story I have today is really about friends that go away from each other. And it made me think of us, because we're going to be going away from each other. It's called Penguin and Pinecone. It's by Selena Yoon. One day, Penguin found a curious object. What's this? It's a pine cone. It was too brown to be a snowball, too hard to be food, and too prickly to be an egg. Whatever you are, you're cold. Penguin got busy. Look, he's knitting something. Yeah, it's going to warm him up. Penguin loved his new friend. Look, they're playing. Uh-oh. What's wrong with my friend? It's too cold here, said Grandpa. Pinecone belongs in the forest far, far away. He can't grow big and strong on the ice. Penguin sighed. I'd better take you home, Pinecone. Penguin packed his sled for the long journey. It looks like he put him under a blanket on the sled. Or a big bag, yeah, something to keep him warm. The wind pushed hard, but Penguin pulled harder. Finally, the forest. Pinecone, you're home. Penguin made a cozy nest out of the softest pine needles he could find. The day grew hotter and hotter. Goodbye, Pinecone. You will always be in my heart. Time passed and passed and passed. Meanwhile, Penguin's knitting and knitting and knitting. Had Pinecone grown big and strong like Penguin had? Penguin set off to find out. Well, he packed it up again, yeah. Pinecone? What? What happened to Pinecone? He did grow big and strong. Yeah, Pinecone. Penguin and Pinecone played and played. Pinecone was sad to see Penguin go, but the forest is no place for a penguin. Penguin and Pinecone may have been far apart, but they always stayed in each other's hearts. When you give love, it grows. Yeah, look at all that love.
I know what happened. We got so much progress that it turned into a forest.
Yes,
Forest.
so much love, it grew into a forest. All right.
And pine cones actually are from pine trees, so they grow on them.
You guys, you know what? I'm going to miss you so much. You're going to stay in my heart, though. All right, let's go off to Unity House. This reading is from the Reverend Teresa Soto. It's called Where Life Sends You. Where is life sending you? Here, now. Don't flinch. Where will you go? Across the street to learn the name of your neighbor, across the city to support interfaith dialogue, to witness the practice of neighbors whose faith has different names, uses different words than yours. Is life calling you to come closer to the grief around you? Not with words, but with empathy and kind silence. Sometimes there is no fixing sadness, and we must instead weather it. But together we make the journey much more possible than alone. Where does life send you? To coffee hour, to start the brew? To a class to accompany young students in experiencing everything that Unitarian Universalism can be for us, both as individuals and as people practicing together in community? Go where your heart pulls you. Catch up to that insistent call, to the thing that waits for you, to the soft place where your talent can rest and your joy bubble up. The sound, the lights, the homeless shelter. The tasks of governance practiced with care as much as lighting any chalice, as crucial as singing any song. There is somewhere you can be. There might not be a parking space reserved sign you can see, but there is a yes for you from the universe. Whether your task is to work or to heal, to rest or to play, it is time to go where life sends you and be who you are meant to be.
This morning's special music piece couldn't reflect more what Reverend Emily just talked about. It's called Galagias, and it is by Santiago Severos. And we'll be singing it in Spanish, but really it's about sending the soul on a journey, on a path that's unknown and supported and loved. It may refer to those that we've lost, that we've loved, a new place where we are all embarking, or perhaps someone who is exploring a new path of her own.
The first sermon I ever preached to my colleagues, fellow students at Harvard Divinity School, incorporated a story from Frog and Toad called A List. In this particular story, Toad decides he's going to write down everything that he is going to do that day. Wake up, he crosses it out. Get up, he crosses that out, and so on. Frog comes over, they go on a walk, and all goes well until, horror of horrors, the list gets blown away. Without his list, Toad is completely unable to do anything, and so he sits and does nothing. I preached this sermon back then because I had been thinking about all that I had to do to prepare for the calling of ministry while I was in school. The list was less than concrete. Cultivate your ministerial presence, demonstrate your ministerial authority, things that at the time I can't say I had a full grasp on. It's kind of ironic, really, because there were a ton of important and very vague things that I learned in divinity school. But when it comes to actual ministry, it's some really, really practical things that you find out quickly that you need to know. I thought of this several times in my earliest years in ministry in Joliet, where real estate knowledge would have come in handy as the congregation and I prepped a multi-purpose block-long former church building for market, bought a former bank building, and renovated it while worshiping in a chemistry lecture hall. None of this, it should be noted, had been covered at Harvard. And although I am in my 26th year of ministry now, just Since my return from my first sabbatical at Unity Temple in April of 2015, all kinds of other things have come up. New and other practical skills have become important. I've played an epidemiologist and a public health official here and at home frequently during this pandemic. I've been a moving specialist for our entire religious education programming as we packed up and relocated to United Lutheran Church for 2 years during the restoration process, then back again. I dabbled in interior design as we outfitted our new offices, classrooms, and community center at 1019 South Boulevard after the renovation of the former pool hall. I honed my video production skills as we halted live worship and connected through recording sermons and stories. It can never, ever be said that ministry is dull, or that you aren't constantly learning new things that wouldn't even occur to you to put on a list. It has been a tradition in Unitarian Universalism for ministers serving congregations over a long period of time to earn sabbatical time. We are no different here at Unity Temple. This is my 15th year serving this congregation. I had a 6-month sabbatical from October 2014 through March 2015 in my 7th year. This one will run the 6 months from October 1st, 2022 through March 31st, 2023. Technically, I'm a year overdue to go, but the timing wasn't quite right last year. It takes months of planning to put all the things in place. And so it's now. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm ready. Or I will be when I finish all the things that are on my list written down for the coming week. These past years since 2015, especially at Unity Temple, have been full of a lot of transitions, such that everyone in leadership has found themselves constantly trying to figure out the next right thing to do. At the same time, we've had a lot of cultural shifts in these past years. I have a distinct memory of hosting our first Dismantling White Supremacy workshop in a top floor classroom at United Lutheran, materials provided by the Unitarian Universalist Association. The Me Too movement went viral. Our local public schools have exploded in the best way in their understanding and acceptance of and accommodations for our kids all over the gender identity spectrum, partly due to work by those here in this congregation. We experienced a worldwide pandemic and lockdown, and those are just a few things that I thought of. It's a lot. It's a lot for our hearts and minds and spirits to take in, and yet we keep on trying here together in this congregation to sort it all out. A logical question to ask me is, of course, what are you going to do on your sabbatical? And that's fair. We focus a lot on doing in our culture. I have some things on my list to do, but there are things that I want to explore more deeply because I haven't had the chance in the rush of daily ministry, so there's that. I'm going to read the piles of books and magazines and newspapers that have accumulated. I'm going to write. I'm going to go to museums. I'm going to try some new things. I'm going to play with dinosaurs. I'm going to ride my bike. I'm going to visit some friends and family and colleagues. I'm going to do learning and reflection on faith development in particular, but mostly for now, I'm going to just be. I think I need some time for my body and heart and mind and spirit to rest and recover from all the things, to just be, and to follow what comes from that. These words popped into my head from Anne Morrow Lindbergh in her book, A Gift from the Sea. The sea does not reward those who are too anxious or greedy or too impatient. One should lie empty, open, choiceless as a beach, waiting for a gift from the sea. One of the most important things, for me anyway, about a sabbatical is that it forces ministers to let go. I find that I am often pondering what I can control and what I can't. I get caught up in the myth of productivity being attached to my worth. I sometimes even think that I am the only one who can do something. And so in preparation, I've worked hard to equip and empower others, and now I'm going to let go. I'm going to miss you terribly, and I also have great faith and trust in you all to keep on doing and being all you can be during this time. It's an opportunity for you all to grow and learn in new ways and perhaps see things a bit differently and try new things that maybe wouldn't be possible otherwise. I've been on sabbatical 2 times before, once in my previous congregation and in addition to the one here. Because ministry is a calling, not just a job. It's a vocation, not just a career. It has become part of who and how I am. And another good thing about going on sabbatical is that it helps reorient me to a bigger belonging, to remind me of a wider world beyond ministry and Unity Temple in particular. Especially because of the pandemic, it's felt like my world is a little smaller. I look forward to a time that feels more expansive and spacious. I hope you'll take the opportunity to deepen in relationship in different ways with one another and with this congregation in general. Think of it as an opportunity for you too to explore a bigger belonging. After the service today, in fact, we'll be holding an engagement fair with representatives from lots of different ministries that represent lots of different opportunities. So the bottom line is that I am not going to see you for 6 months. Not here anyway. I won't be in my office or at worship or doing any of the things normally associated with the daily tasks of ministry. I won't be around if and when big things happen. That's part of it too. And also, I live here in Oak Park. We might run into each other like one does on occasion in Oak Park or the surrounding areas. It is totally okay if you want to pretend not to see me. I'll pretend not to notice you're doing that. And it is also okay to talk to me, just not about Unity Temple stuff. That's part of the sabbatical boundary. But you can feel free to tell me about some great book you read or a trip you took or some anecdote you know I would appreciate or whatever. Tonight's sundown begins the Jewish holiday of Rosh Hashanah, the new year in the Jewish calendar. I know there are many of you who celebrate with extended family or have this as part of your family holiday calendar. The timing of this holiday and my last Sunday in the pulpit are purely coincidental, and I appreciate the confluence of themes, reflecting on the past, spending time on forgiveness and letting go, celebrating the gifts of the world, and sharing hopes for a sweet new year. Years ago, when I set out for my first ministry, I had some things I had learned to help prepare me. That list was nothing compared to the list of things I would need to learn in the years that followed. One of the most important things that someone told me was that my main job as a minister in the first year was simply to love the congregation. All else would come from that. And so that was what I did, and what I kept on doing, and what I keep on doing. Sometimes I step back and marvel at all that we have been through together and how that love has deepened because of it. And I give thanks for the ebb and flow of listening to lives and watching growth and change in our people and in our congregation, and all the love that is part of that. In the frog and toad story about the list, Toad finds that he is unable to do anything after he loses it. Frog runs to try and catch the list, but he fails. Toad, meanwhile, unable to proceed with his day, simply sits and does nothing. Frog, good friend that he is, doesn't try and convince him to change his mind or start a new list. He sits and does nothing too. They sit there together until it gets dark and Frog notes that it is time to go to sleep. "Go to sleep," says Toad. "That was the last thing on my list." And so he writes it down, crosses it out, and goes to sleep. When I first used this story in a sermon maybe 27 years ago, I wouldn't have noticed this, but it's a great metaphor for ministry and how we care for one another. We try and help. We keep each other company during the hard parts, and then we find the next right thing to do. While I'm away, you'll be doing this for one another, just like you always do. For the next 6 months, we'll take our separate paths of renewal and risk and letting go. We'll reflect and give thanks and grow and change. We'll seize new opportunities and be reminded of a bigger belonging, and we'll come back together in April and into our new shared adventures. And always, always, you'll remain in my heart. And so may it always be.
Good morning, I'm Paul Beckwith, and this is my friend Bradley Johnson from Build. And each week, Unity Temple gives our Sunday offering to an organization that aligns with our values. This week, our offering supports Build. Back here at Build in their new headquarters, since I was here in June. Build started as a gang intervention organization in 1969, but now they do a whole range of gun violence prevention, mentoring kids starting from age 5 past college. They focus on the root causes. They give kids support and purpose. They reach more than 2,000 each year. This new building, just 10 blocks from Oak Park on Harrison Lamprey, will help them triple that. And just look at it. It will be a safe place for teens and for basketball, for chess, computers, even gardening, and do their own homework, be with their friends, and also arrives at the mental health center, which has numerous rooms. And there's no stigma about therapy at Build. Everyone is working on healing. 61% of these kids had some violence, and 78% during the last years had some violence. And that's why this is so important.
I'm glad you mentioned about the mental health. Mental health is important. That's one of the greatest areas of our growth. We understand that trauma is behind violence. Trauma is behind a lot of the issues that we experience in our communities. And so we're paying attention to that. And so we are normalizing mental health services, therapy, so that young people and even their families have access, all the support that they will need to have a healthy life, internally, physically, but as well as mentally and emotionally. Here at Build, we work with youth from ages 5 through mid-20s. And in those spaces, we are able to create programs that not just engage young people, but we give them options. We help them find what's important to them. We help them find alternatives to the streets, alternatives to gangs, alternatives to guns, alternatives to drugs, so that they're able to have a fulfilling life to look forward to. And one thing that I can say what Build does is Build changes lives. We take our young people, the young people who are impacted most by violence, impacted most by risk. And risk comes in a lot of shapes and forms. And so with the work that we're able to do here at Build, and with the help of folks like Paul, and the help of your ministry, your church, we're able to support our young people so that they are able to overcome barriers that prevent them from experiencing the best lives possible.
Thank you, Bradley. They know what works. And when you donate, you help more kids who just want a future. This is just 2 miles from our temple, and kids are living without hope, and it shouldn't be that way. We can do something about it. Give today, and everything will be matched, and doubled. Donate by placing cash or checks in your collection basket. If you're sitting in the back row of the section of pews, there's a basket stored under the pew. Please pass the basket, and someone will be at the back of the main floor of the sanctuary to collect all the baskets. You can also give by sending a check to Unity Temple, office with Build on the memo line or by following the instructions on your screen. May what you give bring you joy. And remember, your donation will be doubled. Thank you.
Your spirit, we're going to sing hymn number 368. Now let us sing. There's kind of two parts. You sing whatever you want to sing. Now let us sing, 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 sing. Now let us sing, sing. These words are from John Morgan. In the end, it won't matter how much we have, but how generously we have given. It won't matter how much we know, but rather how well we live. And it won't matter how much we believe, but how deeply we love. Please join with me in the words of our chalice extinguishing. Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again. You may be seated.
This song is something that I'm going to teach you now. And all you have to remember is, after I give that initial thing, is the first thing is this joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This joy that I had, the world didn't give it to me. This joy that I had, the world didn't give it to me, and the world can't take it away. And then we're just going to substitute this pain that I have, this love that I have, this pride, this peace, and back to joy. So, and we're going to maybe try to harmonize with it. But listen to me first. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This joy that I have, you can join me, the world didn't give it to me. Some of you know it. This joy that I have,